Hi, I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Rihanna, and welcome back to Fresh Off the Broke.
Fresh Off the Broke is about personal experiences growing up Asian American in a predominantly white community, Asian media, and Asian pop culture in general. Race has always been a sensitive topic. Every day there are debates over race. With our podcast, we intend to shed light on the experiences of first-generation Asian immigrants, not put them on a pedestal.
We understand that race isn't everything, but there should be an acknowledgement of people of color, the knowledge gap, and the racial divide that will ideally be broken. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into the episode. Today, we are going to be discussing the Asian American/Asian immigrant dream.
Just in time for university college application.
Oh, God.
How is everyone doing with that?
I'm sure everyone's having a great time. Everything's going smoothly. COVID's really helping with that.
Oh, God. This is on time, but also late, depending on who you are, because early applicants in the U.S., their deadline was early November. And it's December right now.
Oh, man. I don't even want to think about it, but here we are.
What does the Asian American or Asian immigrant dream mean to you?
To me?
Yeah, no, I don't mean that in a personal statement college essay way. I mean that in what do you think of when you think of that term?
Well, I think that the Asian immigrant, for me, it's very different. I think the Asian immigrant dream is more about, coming to, country that's not your home country and trying to have your, pushing your children to be successful and basically just being able to lay a foundation for them and have them study, and once they're old enough, they are completely providing for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the Asian American dream, which to me, I guess applies more to us.
Okay.
I don't know, man. These ideas have become very convoluted in my head.
Uh-huh.
Because, before it used to be the whole make parent proud, go to med school, become doctor or nurse,
And you're saying it changed?
I don't know. I mean, obviously I want to do that, but at the same time, I'm not as uptight as I used to be.
Yeah.
About that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Character development here.
Oh, God.
Can we insert some applause?
Yay. I mean, insert here in post, but yeah. What about you?
For me, the definition is pretty similar to you. I think the general idea of the Asian American dream is basically, well, I guess Asian American, Asian immigrant dream. Asian American, I guess it means different things to different people, because some people, they think Asian American dream as first generation Asian immigrant kids.
Yeah.
But then for some other people, Asian American dream / Asian immigrant dream means arriving to another country, most likely a Western or a white man's country, to put it in not as appealing words, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it's more like wanting that identity, because the thing is, especially, back then when there was war, not that there isn't war now, but Asians were fleeing their home countries to go to the great America, the great North America, Australia, stuff like that. Mostly the U.S. for a better life and freedom, which is a general immigrant kind of ideology. But with Asian immigrants, it is very much laying a foundation and then wanting your kids to be as successful as possible, because then it's almost like it was worth it. Which, can lead to some mental issues, but we are going to get into that later.
God.
What has your personal experience been with the Asian immigrant dream? I know we're not exactly, what's the word? I don't know, like grown adults with like I don't know, like we're not like 30-year-old with full experience of the Asian American Asian immigrant dream.
Yeah.
How has it affected your life? What role you think it plays right now, if it plays a different role than in the past? Because you did say you were less uptight about it.
Yeah.
And if you still follow it.
So, oh God, we're really going there.
I mean,
you're next. So, okay.
That's fine.
I think that, growing up, okay, again, we're still very young, so growing up is like doesn't really mean anything to our older.
Back when I was a ye old child.
Yeah, exactly. But, again, as I've mentioned before, I was in the gifted program, which was filled with a lot of children of immigrants / just immigrant children. And they all shared the same ideology of we have to, get into good schools and start thinking now about high school, which I'm talking about when I was in middle school, okay? Middle school, okay? And thinking about, like, our future then, and then high school you're going to go to next, and then university, and then plans for after university / if you want like a master's degree, possibly go into a PhD degree, which, whatever. And then, like, how, it was crazy now that I think about it, how when we were literal children, and it wasn't like end of middle school, I remember having discussions with my friend about this, like friends about this from like grade maybe like 5 to grade 8. Okay? And it was crazy how stressed, okay, again, I love my friends, but it was crazy how stressed we all were about this in middle school, and how we were like what's the word, having such difficulty choosing what high school to go to, because we thought that would help like affect our future significantly, right? And so what happened was, being me, of course, I was like, I don't really want to go to a tech school, because the tech, or like any, like a regular.
Sorry, I'm laughing because of your computer science thing.
Oh God. I didn't want to go to a regular school or a regular program because, let's just say that the gifted kids were bullied, okay? And basically it was the feeling of like releasing like a goldfish into a shark's den. That's what it felt like, okay? Because I had been pretty much sheltered for like 4 years at that point with all of the same friends, right? And so I was like, I kind of want to go to an art school and do that, because, everyone says that high school is like the last chance you kind of have before you become an adult, I guess. So I was like, I want to possibly go to an art school and, spend my time having fun rather than stressing about something in the future. And all of my friends were basically saying, don't do that. You're going to screw up your life. You're not going to get a job. You're going to come home. Literally.
That's so nice.
I know. And it was terrible for like the friendship itself, because during high school applications, all my friends were stressing and being like, I want to get into an IB program. I want to do this. I have an interview next week. And I was like, I want to go to an art school, and all of my friends were just basically saying, if you go to that art school, Rihanna, you're not gonna succeed in life. Okay. And now listen. At the time, it affected me greatly, obviously. All of my friends were saying that I'm gonna fail in life, And yeah, like art school was probably the worst choice that they could ever think of for me to go to. And the reason why that has changed so much is because I'm a senior at an art school now, and all of my friends who went to the harder programs are almost failing their classes. And I'm not even kidding. I had a friend who was a math prodigy, like straight up actual math prodigy. He went to the IB program, and his math grades dropped to maybe 60s. And they're all like, I've heard them literally say, going to this school was a mistake. I regret doing this to myself, and I can't believe I just wasted these years because I was like, stressed about life. I didn't realize how much time we actually have and how much time I've wasted thinking that I need to go here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why my ideology has changed so much. Thank God. But yeah, I'm starting to the only reason why I regret going to art school is because I want to do computer science just like
like 2 days ago.
Yep, we suddenly decided that we wanted to do computer science because it sounds fun. And that's the only reason why I regret going to an art school is because they don't have computer science courses, and a tech school would. But other than that, hearing how my friends are super stressed about high school and how they want to get into med school, but they're failing chemistry right now, I'm that ideology has changed, and it also has for them, but they learned the harder way, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, what about you?
I think I'm gonna first respond to a few points that you made, and then I'll tell my
Okay.
story. I think it's interesting how originally they were all like, "Oh, Rihanna, you're gonna fail in life. You're not gonna have a job. You're not gonna be able to do anything. You're gonna be a failure."
Yeah.
And then now they're like, "Oh my God, Rihanna, Rihanna."
Yeah.
And it's interesting because not everyone is cut out for a tech school
Mm-hmm.
or specialized program, even if they do happen to be gifted in
Yeah.
that subject or very knowledgeable in that subject, which is evident in some people.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people that attend regular high schools, non-specialized programs, and they have top marks and they end up getting into a top tech program, top
Yeah.
med program. Fine. There, well, there isn't a perfect way to go into it, but
Yeah.
you don't have to get into a specific school. Like, there's tons of people. I mean, Shawn Mendes didn't go to
Yeah, no, he just went to
an
some
art school, now
random.
did he?
Yeah.
And he's doing just fine. I mean, I see it involuntarily on my explore page, but
Exactly.
he's
Forced
doing just
on.
fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to my experience. I guess now it's your turn to sit and just
Yes.
not have to suffer. Uh, I would say that I had not a different, not necessarily a different perspective from you, but a very different experience because I grew up not in a class where my classmates were the same, like for 4 years, like in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I did not go to schools with very strong academics.
Mm.
My schools were not very strong academically, they were essentially, I would personally say, sports schools. Those were the things they focused on more.
Yeah.
Didn't care that much about academics, which I mean, I think pursuing at sports is not a bad thing. It's great. But school.
Yeah.
But school. And so for me growing up, I was definitely stressed about my grades. I definitely wanted high grades. And my parents definitely wanted that as well. They did do this thing where they would like pretend that they didn't care, but they obviously did. Because if one day I walked up and told them that I got a 60 on a test, they wouldn't be all that supportive, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. You don't want to see that happen, and I'm not going to let it happen, okay? It's not going to happen, right?
It's not.
Okay, great. And so I never really had people around me saying the same thing as you. It was more just me getting really in my head about it. Because I've definitely mentioned this to Rihanna. I don't know if I've mentioned this in the podcast, but I have like a tiger mom subconscious in my head.
Literally, instead of having like an angel and a demon on her shoulders, Tiffany just has a tiger mom.
Yeah. And that's it. There isn't like a... What would be the opposite of a tiger mom?
I don't know, but it's not there either.
But yeah, and so I was always really up in my head about it. I'd be stressed out about tests, homework, stuff like that because well, I mean, my family also like wasn't financially the best. We're not gonna get into it. We're not gonna get into it.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get too into that. But that was also something that stressed me out a lot. So I felt like I had to do really well in school so that I could get into a good university and get a good job, and then everyone would be, well, not everyone, but you know what I mean, like me and my family would be fine, and we wouldn't have to stress out as much, and my parents wouldn't have to guilt trip me all the time, because they do that. Not great, but they do that. And my high school application experience was also very different to yours because my parents are crazy strict. So even if I wanted to go to some art school, tech school that was far from my house, far from my area, I wouldn't be able to. And I mean, I do go to an art school now with Rihanna, but that's only because it's nearby. And my home schools are awful, both program, academic wise, and also environment wise. I wanted nothing to do with those two schools. And I originally wanted to go to this other school that had an IB program. I wasn't going to apply for IB. I could have, but I watched it almost kill my friend's sister. And I was like, okay, maybe not. She's fine, by the way. She's fine now. But it was a moment.
Yeah.
And she could have not been fine. And that's all I'm gonna say because it's not my story to share. But I did want to go to an art school because I want to go into like architecture, and I mean I don't have to do art to go to an art. Well, I don't have to go to an art school to go into architecture. But I thought, hey, this school is closed, so my parents will at least let me try, right? And they didn't, but that other school wouldn't take me, and so they kind of had to let me go to this school. And yeah, my story isn't as like there isn't that much development compared to Rihanna's, but
Oh my God.
sorry.
No, I'm just typically you've had character development.
No, I just mean that it didn't happen the same way as you. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't have people being like, ugh, and then I'm like, wow, look at this difference. For me, it was more just, I was really hard on myself. Uh, I'm still hard on myself, but I'm
Yeah.
less hard on myself now.
Yeah. Still character development.
Yeah, yeah,
Still here for it.
yeah. And my, it, Asian Immigrant Dream doesn't really affect me as much as it did when I was little.
Mm.
Now it's just more, I am distressed.
Yeah.
I try not to equate like success with grades and stuff anymore. I slip up sometimes and let it happen.
Mm. It's hard not to
Yeah,
be fair.
but I am definitely not as, as you would say, uptight about it as I used to.
Mm.
And that is my story. It's very much a straight line with a tiny little bump.
Well, there's still a bump there.
Yeah, still a bump there. That
Yeah.
is my story.
Oh man. Oh wait, can I just add one thing?
Yeah.
I think that I mean, it's hard to connect these dots, but I feel like there's so much that has to do with like Asian immigrant and Asian American dream because like obviously if our parents weren't as strict on grades with us, we would think like, oh, then we wouldn't be as strict on ourselves, right? But at the same time that there's that whole first gen guilt of
Mm-hmm.
we need to do well because our parents are, left everything behind in their home country to start a new life for a child that they want to support. So why wouldn't you want to, do well for them
Is
when they
that what
gave
it
up?
was like for you?
Well, yeah, it still is like that for me. It's just like weird and meta.
Because for me, I don't really have an immigrant story like other people. My dad's side came here because my grandparents wanted to, and then my dad met my mom back in China, and then my mom came here with him. I don't have my parents left everything behind story or my grandparents left everything behind story
Mm.
like other people do. I definitely still have guilt.
Yeah.
My parents guilt trip me every single day.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm okay, by the way. I'm okay. Don't need to call anyone.
God. Biggest fear.
Sorry.
Biggest fear. Please. I'm okay. Please.
Yeah, please don't call anyone. Please.
No, yeah. I also don't have like my parents left everything, but they still guilt me. Like, I mean, I guess it's more my mom guilts me the most because she like stopped. She was essentially just a full-time mom.
Mm-hmm.
So she wasn't working or doing anything. She just literally just took care of me. And then like there's that whole thing about dance and okay, yeah, whatever.
Whoa.
Another day.
My mom is also a stay-at-home mom. She works now, but
Yeah,
she was a stay-at-home mom when I was little.
we literally have the same.
Yeah, we're not gonna go into too much detail, but there was a point in time where Rihanna and I had a conversation about our lives, and we realized that our parents had
Right
almost
in it.
the exact same, like,
Everything.
yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, especially our dads. That was a
That
little
was
too similar.
yeah.
The only difference was like the company they worked at.
Yeah. Oh god.
Yeah. The thing that does annoy me a little bit about first gen guilt is that I've I've noticed that immigrants first-gen immigrants or immigrant kids,
Mhm.
when they vent or open up about their experiences, they're often not met with empathy, and they're met with, oh, but your parents left everything behind, which is true for some people. And they're also just met with, oh, you should be grateful, you should be whatever.
Mhm.
And then
That
there's
makes
never talk about what they vented about.
Yeah. Or it's like they vent about it and then they're hit with the but you're doing fine anyways, so who cares? Like grade wise.
Yeah, yeah.
Has anyone ever hit you with that?
The grade one?
Yeah, like you complaining about how like stress school is making you and they hit you with the but you have a 90 average anyways, so why are you complaining?
No, only because I don't like talking to people about these things.
Makes sense.
Like you're one of the few people that I've discussed this with.
Mm, I'm honored.
Because personally, I don't like venting or ranting about things. One, because I don't like revisiting it, and I don't mean that in like an escapist way. I I just don't like, I don't know, diving into the situation and then being all like ranty, because personally that doesn't work for me. That works for other people, but that doesn't work for me because then I get stressful talking about it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, because I already know what they're gonna say,
Yeah, that's true.
and so I don't have that personal experience because I don't open up about these things. What about you?
Um, I mean, coming to high school, I got more of those things because before in middle school, I was the person who was like not getting as high grades. I had one girl,
Like A for average?
yeah, yeah. Like I was at an average, but these people were not at average. They were at above and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had someone like who was crying. Okay, she was crying because she got like I don't know, like a 90 on her test, and that wasn't good. And I got like a lower mark. And obviously, yeah, I get that she's hard on herself, but then I was like, being me, I was like in grade 8, being like, yeah, I got a lower mark, so don't stress yourself. You're probably one of the highest marks in the school or in the class. And she was like, well, yeah, like that's a good mark for you though. And I'm like, what does that mean?
The
What's that supposed
tone.
to mean? Ouch.
Yeah, I think some people have a harder time expressing things like that because I could definitely, maybe not cry, but I could definitely be one of those people. But I would either, one, keep it to myself,
Mm-hmm.
because if I get a test back and it's like a high mark, but it's not a mark I want, and I'm upset about it, or I am visibly upset about it, then
Mm-hmm.
someone's gonna ask, and then they're not gonna like my answer.
That's true.
But that's just me.
I mean, the only reason why it upset me so much was because we all shared the same mentality, so it kind of just like evened it all out.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't bother me or anything. No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, I definitely understand how that would be annoying to you because of the way she added that's a bad mark. I understand why that would be good for you though,
Yeah, yeah.
because that would imply that you don't care as much or you don't work as hard, which is
Or
not
I get
true.
lower grades.
And I mean, I don't know her personally. It could have been, like, I don't want to say that it definitely was something in the heat of the moment. It could just be her way of viewing you. But I have heard, seen people doing that.
Hmm. So yeah, I'm definitely more like that person now but it's more of like a
That's an
I
interesting
won't.
character development.
Yeah, but it's not like I'm gonna cry over something. I'm just gonna be like, oh dang, that wasn't so good. And then if someone asks me, I won't even say like what the mark was. I'll just be like, oh, it wasn't as good as I thought it would be.
Yeah, same. Because if you say something like, I bombed it, which I mean, even though it may feel like that, it actually isn't. You didn't actually bomb it. But if you say that you bombed it or something, then they're gonna add.
Yeah.
And then what are you gonna say?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you hit them with the it wasn't as good as I thought, they can't really ask you because it's like if you don't want to share it up right away, then why would they press? That's just rude. Life hacks. Don't do that.
Life hack.
Oh god.
I feel like first gen life hack would most likely be very sad.
Too sad.
Going back to the whole needing top grades, needing to be at the top thing, that definitely plays into hustle culture
Mm-hmm.
and just a general chase for prestige that is often found in Asian. It's definitely found in other groups as well, but it's very prominent with Asian.
Yeah.
And I don't know, when I think of stuff like chase for prestige, I think of people wanting to get into the top uh, pre-med program or the top law program, and just try being at like the top university, or being like the top earning person that you know. Because the thing is, this is very unhealthy, but a tiger mom, tiger parent mentality, they don't treat your friends like friends. They treat your friends like your competitors.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And they want their child to be the smartest, best at insert whatever out of their friend group. And that is definitely a very harmful part of the chase for prestige.
It's like not even your friends can console you because they try to. It's literally just you can just hear your parents being like, "Well, are you good? You have the same grades as this person? I bet you they know what they're doing." Type, you know?
My parents used to do that. Growing up, people that got higher marks than me, for example, maybe on a test or in a subject, they my parents have a very interesting style.
Mm.
They're passive aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're very direct, but when it comes to more tiger parenty things, they're passive aggressive because then it doesn't seem as bad,
Mm-hmm.
which I see through you, okay? And so rather than saying, why can't you be like so and so who got 100% on the test? Or why can't you be like so and so who got insert award? They'll keep complimenting that person.
Mm.
Or they'll be like, wow, that person's parents must be so proud. I'm like, ow!
Wow. Wow. That
Ow!
one hurt me, and I didn't even hear it. Ouch. Jesus.
Do you have experiences like that?
I
Or
mean,
because I don't know what your parents' style is.
my dad, let's just pretend that my dad doesn't exist because he did not.
Whoa.
No,
Whoa.
I mean that in a way of like a, typical Asian dad doesn't really talk.
Uh-huh.
My mother, she would kind of do the same thing, but it was more of like she'd just straight up ask me, what did your friend get on this test? Yeah, like stuff like that. But it was more in like, oh god, it was more in like when I was doing competitive dance, it was very toxic because like the award sessions are literally like everyone knows what place everyone got. So whenever it was like I came in like last place and my friend came in first place, it would always be like she wouldn't even have to say anything. It would just be she'd give me that look, and it's like, okay, well, I you don't need to say anything. I know I got last place,
That's something that's pretty common in Asia, actually, because for tests and stuff, I don't really know about here because at our school they keep it anonymous. If
Yeah,
they do release updated grades or test scores, it will have student numbers or some type of anonymous
yeah.
representation of a student, and you'll see the numbers. But in Asia, more specifically, I'm just going to talk about China only because I am more well versed in that area and I don't want to speak for other countries.
Mhm.
They will release marks in the same way that you find out dance results. So, it'll have first to last and then the name and the actual name of the student and the score.
Mhm.
And then this part I'll have to infer from dramas. But I saw that they'll also have ones where you'll see the grade and then you'll see their average.
Oh God.
But yeah, that's kind of a Asian mentality where humiliation
Yeah,
plays into motivation.
which shouldn't even be a thing. Why?
Nowadays with online school, at least the program that we're using, you'll see grade distributions, but rather than student numbers anything, it'll just say how many people got what percent.
Hmm.
How do you think you would have felt or like acted differently if your dance results were completely anonymous? Because you still know you're in last place, but how
Yeah.
do you think it would improve
Well, I mean,
everything?
it was more. You can't really like not make it anonymous because it's literally like an award show. Like they announce who got what, like
Uh-huh.
But it's literally like, and in third place, this person, and they have to get up and get your award, and then like
Uh-huh.
in for second place. So like I don't even think it's possible to make it anonymous, but if they did, they would still like you would still know who got what because gossip.
I was more talking about like last place though, not because I mean
Oh,
first to third is like you said it is impossible to not hand the medal or hand
yeah.
the whatever to them, but I was more talking about last places.
Oh, okay. I mean,
Like if no one knew that you were in last place except for you and the judges, I guess.
yeah, I mean, I guess that would help. I think there was actually some competitions that did that. Like, they would only announce third, second, and first, but they would still announce like everyone else's actual number like mark. So unless
Like in
you
the
wrote
Olympic,
down, pardon?
like in the Olympic.
I get, yeah, yeah, kind of. So like you would only know who came dead last and like everything else if you wrote down every single mark, which people still
Ah,
did that. So I guess it was less of a public humiliation. And yeah, I think it didn't really help though, because you're still bummed out about getting low, and then obviously your parents are gonna be like, so what'd you get? You know?
yeah.
I mean, thank God I'm out of there, so
Do you tell your parents your test mark?
only if they're good.
I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. The thing is, my parents don't really listen to me when I tell them about school,
Hmm.
unless it's, you know, for example, now the pandemic, they'll listen to whatever I say.
Yeah.
But in general, if I say, oh, I have a test coming up, they'll probably forget in the next 10 minutes.
Mm.
And so sometimes I don't even tell them if I have a test or not. And if I do well, then I'll just say, "Hey, I got this thing back." They don't even know if I took it yesterday or last year.
Yeah.
I actually did that with a contest one time. I didn't tell them that I entered, and
Oh
then once
yeah,
I got the results, I told them.
I just didn't do that.
Because, it would have been a pleasant surprise or just a little secret
Yeah.
that no one has to know.
I think I'm gonna do that for uni applications, to be honest. Like, I'm just not gonna tell them where I applied, and then if I get into like a big school, I'm gonna be like, "Yo, I got in."
I feel like it might be harder to hide university applications though, because
Yeah, they said
isn't
less.
your mom a little like dead set on
Well,
something?
she is, but I've worked it into her that I'm not going there, even if I do apply, because I don't want to.
Going where?
I'm not saying.
I'm joking. I know where it is. One thing that I did, I wouldn't say learn, but I think is worth like applying to the whole wanting to go to Harvard, wanting to go to some prestigious school just because it's prestigious, is the small fish, small pond, big fish, big pond, small fish, big pond, and then big fish, small pond saying. Because depending on the person, you can really screw yourself up
Mm-hmm.
by going to a prestigious school.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're going to a top school, you're with other top people. And so you're all basically normal.
Yeah, it just
And
evens out.
then there's the prodigy somewhere, or the
That ruins it for
prodigies somewhere that are way better than y'all. And then everyone has like imposter syndrome and is stressing themselves out because no one's special anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, when you have top school, for example, maybe like Ivy League, and for example, say a sport, like they got a sports scholarship, all the other people that got sports scholarship were the top in their town or their city, county, just like you were.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, obviously when you were in your area, your small pond, you were the big fish. But now you're just another fish in a big pond of top fish.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes it is better, well, depending on the person, to go to a maybe not generic school, but just go to one that you think is better for you. And even if you don't get into a top school and you go to a lesser known school, it doesn't necessarily mean that your quality of education is worse. And also, if you're a top student and you go to a smaller school, it can make you look smarter.
Yeah, it definitely
That
does.
that happened to my cousin when he was younger because he his school was similar to my schools in the past, except we're talking high school. His school was really bad,
Mm.
and he was basically like the top kid. I mean, he also studied engineering later, but
Oh god.
he was basically the top kid. Um, his teachers loved him, and he went on to engineering. And I'm not saying that if there were other top kids at the school that wouldn't have happened, but him being a top kid at I will say, very top, made him look like a bigger fish.
Mm-hmm. And like sometimes you want that to work for you. Yeah, I guess some people are like, but I want the challenge. But personally, if I'm talking about my future, I want the safest pathway possible. I don't care about challenge. I want to have a secure future. I don't know about you guys.
I like challenges, but I think that there are other aspects that you have to take into account sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though post-secondary is a great opportunity to take on other challenges, for lack of a better word, and, push yourself at a harder program, if you're not someone that can afford to do that,
Mm-hmm.
you might not want to make that your number one priority.
Yeah.
There's definitely people from low-income families that made it, but that's not everyone, and that's also not to say that you can't be that person,
Mm-hmm.
or that we can't be that person. Gotta add some realism into those aspirations.
Yeah. Oh God.
And now on a closing note, for people that are applying for post-secondary, have applied to have applied to early acceptance, we cheer you on.
Make sure you take breaks and drink your water and take care of yourself. Cough, cough. This is for you, Tiffany.
What the heck? I was like, whoa.
Make sure that you remember everyone else is also going through the same thing. You're not alone. We're all gonna get through this eventually.
And just because you don't get into a top school does not mean you're an Asian disappointment.
Trust me. There are no Asian disappointments.
Wow, that was so sentimental.
Except for me.
Oh my god.
Holiday season is coming up soon, so think about that. Personally, I hate Christmas songs with a burning passion, so
you're so good at this right now.
But yeah, holiday season is coming up. You have an excuse to splurge on yourself because you're going through it, and it's holiday season, and food, and chocolate, and me time. Well, I guess you time, you know?
Imagine that. Don't worry, guys. Me time.
Me time.
Yeah, the entire holiday season is just Rihanna.
Just my time. None of your time. My time.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in today. Leave a comment about your experience with the Asian immigrant, Asian American dream. What your thoughts on the whole chase for prestige? Did you fall into that rabbit hole? Are you still in that rabbit hole? Do you need a ladder? Because we will fish you out of there.
Yeah.
And also, if you want, you can leave a comment about what schools you applied to, what programs, majors that you are hoping to get into. We will support you, send you some words of encouragement. And also, send us the contact information of your tiger parents so we can tell them to please be nicer to you.
Oh my god, I was not expecting that. Check out the card link in our Instagram bio. It contains links to all of our streaming platforms such as Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and more. So follow us for more behind-the-scenes content, announcements, and other random things we decide to put on there.
See you next time.
Bye.
Hope y'all stay well.